Hey there, everybody. It's your boy JB coming at you with a special episode where I'm going to count down my top 10 most poignant moments of season 2 so far. We're going to do it a two-part series, so you're going to get 10 through 6 this go around. I hope you enjoy it. And don't get mad at me. I left out my own brother. Let's get to it.
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know with JB?
Starting the countdown off is my friend, my sheriff, Sheriff Michael Atkinson. And we go through a very poignant moment as we discuss the tragedy, the murder of Deputy Will May. That's episode 38 if you're keeping up.
Sorry, we want to take a moment of silence for Deputy William May, whose end of watch, and we're going to flash his picture up on the pod for the video, but whose end of watch came April 2nd, 2025, as he was actively protecting and serving our community. Mm-hmm. And man, the story's terrible. You can read up about it. We don't have to relive it, but I just want to take a moment of silence for a second here on this show for Deputy William May. Okay. That's powerful.
Silence is always powerful.
Silence is always powerful.
Amen.
You kind of go into some prayer with it, and you go in some thoughts with it, and I know that affected your organization greatly. I was, of course, also appreciated to seeing how well the community turned out.
That motorcade was something like I've never seen before.
Was amazing.
That was. I was standing down at Applebee's watching it come down the hill.
The stories that have been told, the things I've read have been told of that deputy and his family. So I know he's going to continue to have an impact in your department probably for a long time.
Mm. And his father had a Will's dad retired. So Walton County the sheriff's office here is a little bit different in that we are also fire rescue. Mm. So we're fire and EMS north of the Chattahoochee Bay.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we have one of the largest fire departments in this part of the state of Florida. So,
wow.
But his dad had retired as an assistant chief for us, a battalion chief. And so that touches home even more so in that Will's dad, spent a career at Walton County Fire Rescue in the sheriff's office, and so there, a life dedicated to public service. And I think one of the things that I try to get across about this, and I said this at his funeral, you don't have to make more of Will in death than he was in life, and I think that's always a little bit of a mistake.
Sure,
because the reality of it is, I judge a man by. There's an expression we always say: ethics is what you do when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
Right. I like that, but here's a better version of that to me, which is integrity is what you do when everybody's looking, when it matters. And so that, to me, was Will's defining moment of measurement, in that when it mattered, he answered that call. And there's no more. And I tell men and women, they start all the time, the price for this business can be blood. Mm-hmm. And people listen because they watch cop shows. A little interesting study, a Pew Research study from a few years ago, they asked people about policing in general. And almost 90% of the public surveyed said they understood the job. Mm-hmm. Think about that for a second. Tell me another job where not the job. They felt they had a full understanding of the job. Well, they don't.
No.
Right. And certainly when it comes time to pay that price, that's it's a hard thing at multiple levels. And I think it's important. We have lost deputies over this incident. Mm-hmm. We will lose staff over this. And there's no shame in that. For some people, this is they need to do something else. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So it hit them that hard, huh? They just.
Well, it's a pretty common thing for people to leave. Yeah, for sure. But it's not real to you when you're 27 years old or 30 years old, or maybe you come on, your wife says, or your husband says, I don't want you doing this anymore.
Yeah.
You got a kid at home.
Right.
Honey, you're a deputy sheriff.
Right.
Why do you don't need to do this?
Yeah.
Right.
We don't need to do this. And so, people don't think about that.
Yeah.
No.
and,
No, you don't.
and that's, listen, for me, and I've been doing this 32 years, we always talk about events like Will's, which is the most dramatic that people see. Here's what I see wears people down in my profession that nobody ever talks about, which is when you stand at a door at 2 o'clock in the morning, knock, 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 knock. Somebody comes to the door and you go, Mr. Johnson, I regret to inform you that your daughter's not coming home.
I couldn't do it.
So,
could not do
but
it.
the problem is you got to do it because that's the business we're in.
But I could not do that
Right,
business.
but I tell, and so that's not something you see, right? But it's something that's done every day. I don't have enough fingers and toes for the times I've done that. So those are the kind of things that I think wear these men and women down more than you can possibly realize.
Yeah.
A day in and day out. I know you said you had Julie Porterfield on here. I love Julie. I consider her a great friend.
She does a great
She
job
does
too.
God's work. She is a wonderful, wonderful human being. She's done really amazing stuff. But we always used to talk about this when a deputy or an investigator, police or whatever, goes to interview these children and deal with these things. This is day in, day out. And I will routinely, I'll say something like that. Somebody go, well, don't tell me about it. I don't want to hear it. Well, first of all, I wasn't going to tell you about it.
Right.
So that's A.
Yeah.
But think about fundamentally what you're saying. You can't even hear the thought of that.
Yeah.
You can't bear the thought of me accidentally telling you something.
Right.
No.
And then everybody else is living with it.
So
dealing with it day in and out. So, those are the kind of things that I think I know people don't understand.
Yeah.
From that point. And so I just think when in a case like Will's where there was absolutely nothing he could have done differently.
Right.
32 years I'm doing this, and I'm
Right.
telling you, you could not have done it any better than he did it, and it wasn't his day. And that's the reality of the business we are in.
A terrible tragedy I just remember it stopped me in my tracks when I
call
saw
it what it is. It's a murder.
Murder.
It is.
Yeah,
It's a
100%
small
it is.
community.
The murder.
It
this is
was senseless. It sounds
tight
senseless.
It doesn't even make sense.
And your press conference right after it, I remember you saying something of that.
Yeah, he said
It was like, there's no way to
I can't tell you we're going to learn something from it. I can't tell you we're going to handle something different because we're not.
Right.
We're not.
Right.
In some ways, it would be easier, I think, for even the public to say, well, you didn't do X.
Yeah.
You didn't do Y. Or you train, if you'd have trained more. There's no...
It sounds like his training kicked in because the threat was stopped.
The threat was stopped. So he put 6 rounds on target after being mortally wounded. After being ambushed.
Wow.
It's a phenomenon. From holster. It is fun. From holster.
With a pistol.
Wow.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
How's that?
It's unbelievable.
Possible?
That's
And
unbelievable.
your training just kicks in. You hear that in the military. You hear, trust your training.
All right, coming in at number 9, my good friend Julie Porterfield with my favorite charity, Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center. She talks about the story of how it all began. You can catch it out in episode number 22.
I'll tell you the reason why it all started.
Tell me.
So, we had a really bad, for those of you who don't know, at the Children's Advocacy Center, it really started off helping children who were sexually abused. And the concept came out of Huntsville, Alabama. But we had a really bad case where a daycare's owner molested 5 little girls in the home. Oh, my word. And so, obviously, the court system wasn't designed for little people. And so, at the time, I was a victim advocate, and so I had to work with those little girls to prepare them to go into the courtroom.
Oh, sure.
And so the gentleman was convicted, sentenced to life. If I remember correctly, his name was Joe Bell. And after that case, that's kind of where all the agencies got together and said there had to be a better way for children in the court system. Because it's a scary place to even for adults.
It is.
100%.
To go in there and test. And with child abuse cases, everyone has to be removed from the courtroom except the advocates, the attorneys, and the child sitting there with the offender.
So the offender's there, though?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
So it's a scary place. So after that, they all just, Rick got around the table saying, what can we do differently? And Pat Franklin, who was one of the co-founders, heard of the concept of a children's advocacy center. And it's about putting everyone in one place for a child instead of that child having to go to multiple places.
So counseling?
Yes.
Yeah,
because what happened...
Sheriff might come in.
Yes. So what happened was when you take a child 3 different places to tell their story, typically what happened is they would recant. So you didn't have the opportunity to help the child. They didn't want to talk about it anymore.
So why would they?
Yeah, so you lost the ability to help the child beyond the court piece of it, but then also we weren't holding offenders accountable.
Wow.
So the best practice at that time was to put
they just continue offending.
Yeah.
So it's not going to stop.
Nope.
Right.
Unless you get them off the street.
That's right.
So the concept was that the best practice at that time was to build a building, put all the agencies under one roof, and the child just has to come to one place for help.
Okay.
And it's a child-friendly place.
Sure.
Because you haven't been there yet.
No, I'm coming. I'm coming.
You got choices.
Because the episode previous, Tony Carter here with True North Pest Control. You guys know we love True North Pest Control. We need to flood True North with new business because all new people that sign up during the month of January 2025 and February 2025, he is matching that revenue from new customers
That's so awesome.
to donate to Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center on our behalf. On what the hell do I know with JB's behalf?
That's awesome.
So we got to load that up. So I'm so excited about that. But I haven't been there, but we're going to come. I'm bringing Tony and myself. We'll all three come.
Danielle too.
We're going to come and visit the center because I want to see it.
So at the centers, we have prosecutors that are housed at the center. We have the interview rooms. We have the medical exam rooms. We have the therapists. We have the advocates. So when a child is telling their story, all these people are sitting in one room while the child's sitting in the room with an interviewer. So everybody can gather the same information at the same time.
Right.
Like you're not having to go back and ask that child.
That's right.
And so many times when you come out of that interview, law enforcement's ready to go talk to the alleged offender and or get ready for a case. But then our team has the ability to start helping that child and that family. Because you can put people away, but these kids still have to go on.
Well, then they've got...
They move.
But their life has kind of been in
it's
shambles,
horrible,
right?
yeah.
I mean, when they've had a trauma like that... And what people don't realize, especially when you're dealing with in like sexual trauma at a young age, you don't realize that the neurons in your brain get kind of like how you think about sex is positioned in such a negative way at an early age. It just shifts your entire worldview for the rest of your life if you don't get some help.
The interesting thing about you, especially young children, they don't know that it's wrong.
No.
What's happening to them.
Well, they don't know what's right or wrong. Yeah.
But it's not even just the physical. It's like there's a mental brain mapping that they found happens that then you begin associating your dopamine gets changed, everything that gets changed, and you don't know it.
Yeah.
And we're starting to find it. And guys happen all the time. It's where sexual addiction occurs. They can be traced back many times to something early on in their past.
And that's why the therapy at the center is so important.
Right.
I mean, you can put the bad people away, but our goal is to really restore those lost childhoods.
I mean, I tell you what.
And it's all done at no cost. So
and that's what's amazing.
Nothing we do, there's not a charge for anything we do.
That's what I love about that's why people like Tony and True North and the gala and doing all that. That's why I'm telling you folks, if you're watching this podcast, sign up True North Pest Control. You can say I don't have the money to donate, but you've got pest control, right? So sign up to True North, and he's going to literally donate for you. He's going to match that sign up to them. So what a great
sounds like
way.
a large organization that
it's huge.
It is. It's a big
That's
organization.
only one piece of it.
And what are the other things you're doing there?
So the other thing, the good thing is you're seeing a lot of prosecution, so they are putting, and then having all those agencies under one roof, we're like a family.
Okay.
So you can imagine, they don't have to do it this way.
Right.
It's something that the Sheriff Aiden and Sheriff Atkinson and the State Attorney Ginger Madden, they have all
decided this is how we're going to
and this has been 20
and they're working together.
Yeah.
And
so
they're investigating together. They're taking care of it. Also making sure they're protecting the victims well.
Yep.
And in the center of it, and that's why I said that word advocacy and advocate. That might be the thing that sticks out because you guys, with all of those people, while it's nice that it's all in one center, the reason why is because you're advocating for the child.
Right, and so if
you're there,
that family just has to come to our advocate instead of having to call the state attorney's office or get the sheriff's office. It's all. And so even with the children, if they're going to do depositions, if it's going to go to trial, the kids do the depots at the center too. So you're bringing that child back to the same place every single time. And you'll see when you come, that is child friendly. It's fun there.
That's great.
So
I love it. I'm going to see it. I
know.
can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Juice, there is a scripture. Look up, see if you can look up. There's a scripture. There's like, you've got the advocate that goes before you, talking about Jesus.
I love that.
And it sticks out for me when I think about the Advocacy Center, because you should be able to Google something that's like the advocate that goes before you, because we're told in ancient scripture. What is that? What's the scripture? Juice, did you find it? Did you type like advocate that goes before you, Bible verse?
That's beautiful.
Because there is, and he'll find it. It takes a second for him. He's not the fastest in Google. So
He's pretty fast moving.
what is that Bible verse, Juice? Because there's my little children. I'm writing these. John says, but yeah. So we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ. So it's 1 John 2. And John writes, but he talks about, like, I'm writing to you so that you may not sin, but if anyone does sin, because we are, it's like he wants you to not sin, but if anyone does sin. In fact, the translation is probably, if you went back further, it says, I will ask Father, and he'll give you another helper, another advocate that'll be with you forever. John talks about a lot. My little children, I'm writing these things to you so you may not sin. If anyone does sin, we have an advocate. And what I love about it is we have an advocate. So on my behalf, I think there's another scripture.
Someone will speak on your behalf.
And there's another one. While we were still sinners, yet Jesus died for our sins. And so we talk about that, but we have an advocate, because things are, when the basis of our faith is that things aren't right. That I'm a sinner and I have like this sin on me. I've seen somebody do this at an old church I had, and he did it with a billfold. But it was like, I have sin on me. This is my sin, and this is me, and I have sin on me. And because of that, God is righteous, and he can't see sin, God. But if this is Jesus, so if this right hand is Jesus, Jesus came, and he said, I'm going to be advocate for you. And I take that away so that then you can be made whole and be seen by God. And so we have this advocate of someone that does that for us. And that's what I love about what you're dealing in. You're the advocate for those kids.
And I will tell you, when I first started, one of the first days we were open, I was there at night, and we're open 24/7. Like, there's always a team on call.
Right.
And so, I had a child come into the office, probably 6 or 7. And of course, I'm sitting, my office used to be out front, and they told me what had happened, and I, you don't react, you just listen. And I was just heartbroken, because my son at that time was 2.
Oh, wow. And
then, but the child came back into my office after the interview, and they said, you can tell people in this building care about kids. Oh, wow. So I had to kind of, reconcile myself. Why does God let this stuff happen? But then I realized he created the center. Because again, there's sin. So it was a tough one, because I'm not sure. That night I went home and I'm like, I don't know if I can go back there.
That's
I don't know if
so
I can do this anymore.
It's got to be very
fairness. So one thing I like to say is fairness went out the window with Adam and Eve. On this side of heaven, we won't ever understand why.
Yeah.
In fact, you posted something the other day, said, I will never fathom, and I saw this, it was on your post, so it said, I will never fathom how someone can hurt a child, but I can fathom it doesn't have to be the end of their story. With our work, I see a community uniting to bring hope so our children can dream and be all they can possibly be, boundless dreams. I mean, where does that hope come from? Because we're talking about this, you said it day in, day out. You have these stories, they're hitting you, and you're going home and going like, I don't know if I can hear one more story.
I think I learned, I pray a lot, obviously.
Sure,
my life is formed around prayer, but I think I learned we don't save them all. And that's the one you pray for, but that you go to work thinking that you can. Because truly, I statistically should still not be there,
With everything you've seen?
Yeah, for 25 years, you take that about...
What's the lifespan of a typical person doing this work?
For a not-for-profit, about 4 years.
4 years. Wow. Is that across all non-for-profits?
Yeah.
So that's not a generalization. If you're working non-for-profit, you've got 4 years. Do they go to the for-profit world or CEO world, maybe? Do they, so maybe going to the... Because it is tough, right?
It is tough.
I mean, you're not only you executing on whatever the mission of that nonprofit is, but you're also raising money. You're having to do all these other things. There's so many other things.
It's only God possible.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
In at number 8, my friends David and Jill Olivares.
They've got radiant resort properties, and they dive into what it's like to have great customer service. You can find that one out at episode number 27.
I mean, Jill, do you have a gambling side to you? Because you two went all in an aspect into this radiant resort part. What made you kind of go all into the short-term rental here at the Emerald Coast?
So no, I mean, like, gambling in the sense of like poker, like Dave's taught me everything I know about poker. So I'm not a big like gambler in that sense, but I grew up, my dad is an attorney, but he was self-employed. He had his own little practice. So, and then when I came down here, I went into real estate. And so I've kind of constantly been in this entrepreneurial type situation. I helped another friend of ours who was launching something in the financial sector. So for me, when Dave was in a job and he wasn't really thriving in it and he wasn't happy, I was like, well, why don't we just do something? Because we can.
100%.
Like, we can just, anybody can do anything.
Greatest
right?
country.
Like,
This is still the greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
America.
I mean, make your plan and go for it.
All right, we need an eagle now. I need to go, ha ha, or get a hawk or whatever, like an eagle chirp.
Well, it needs to be a bald eagle, right?
Yeah.
We need the bald eagle.
Or just
Gotta be the bald eagle.
Yeah.
Calm down.
I'm looking forward to hearing that, Juice.
All right.
Whenever it comes out.
But you're correct. It's such a great, you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
think
can take that risk here in
we
this
just
country.
see a lot of people who are like unhappy and they feel stuck, but you're only stuck if you allow yourself to be stuck.
Ooh, that's brilliant.
So, I mean, I think that if you are unhappy in a situation, you look at what can you do. And so he was unhappy, and I was like, well, let's do something different. And we kind of went through different things, like maybe we just get a new job and we move away, or all the things. But we just went through no, we like living here. We like raising our kids here. You have all of this experience in the industry. I mean, he was 15 plus years in. I've been selling real estate here for 10,
right?
Over 10. And so we're like, let's just give it a try. We'll see what happens.
I will add to that, her risk level has gone through the roof since we started on this venture. And we were very prayerful about it. I took a sabbatical.
It's measured, right?
Very much so. And really during that sabbatical, took some interviews and, had some good offers. But at the end of the day, it was always going to lead to the same spot. And if you're ever going to change anything, you really got to step out in faith and do something big and really, really try to reinvent things and make things the way that you feel they ought to be. And that's what we've done with Radiant. And by God's grace, Jill's been with me through every step of the way. My skin's thick. I'll go down to one chip. I'll sit there.
Yeah, I've seen him do this. I've seen him do this.
but sweet Jill has had to learn that throughout the course of the last 3 years. But it's been a fantastic learning curve, and honestly, we complement each other very well in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you start a business, and why a lot of people don't is because it's a change to your current lifestyle, and we are creatures of familiar.
Habit for sure.
Of comfort. Though,
comfort,
really of comfort. And so when you're stepping out, there's a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of sacrifice you have to be willing to make.
You gotta get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
It's never going to go exactly the way that you think it's going to go.
That's right.
So even in this, we put out a plan, and we had all these goals, and we were like, surely we will hit them, and we'll hit them on this time frame. And
no problem.
No, I mean, it has taken a lot longer than we thought it would, but there is a level of, with our faith, we can see God's hands print in it. We wouldn't have been able to take on, if it had come the way we wanted it to,
sure,
it probably would have overwhelmed us. But there's been this measured little by little that allows us to grow in a way that is sustainable.
Sometimes I think that is the faithfulness of God, is that you're figuring it. Sometimes it is Him giving you the ability to sit back and see what, make a plan and the process and figuring it out and how to come through it. When I was doing the career day, there's this young girl that was taking me around to go to the classroom I was from, I guess, the media center. She's a freshman, and I just asked her how her year was going. She goes, I'm just so overwhelmed with all the stuff that they're throwing at me in all these classes. And I said, well, how do you eat an elephant? She was like, I don't know. I was like, one bite at a time.
That's right.
You just have to start. And I love what you said, is that you guys put a plan together, and you had all of these places where you thought you might be, and some of them you probably have surpassed, some of them you haven't, and you figured it out. But that's the beauty, is you have to have a plan, right?
Right.
And that's how you can measure and pivot and make adjustments.
Yeah.
And so many people don't do a plan. It's the number one thing I don't understand whether it's in your personal life or in business. You got to have a plan, folks. You got to have a plan. You've got to plan it out. Danielle and I've been doing this, this in fact, Monday. So we're shooting, by the time this comes out, our anniversary will have happened, but 24 years of marriage will be Monday. We've been together 30 years, and every year we do a plan. So we try to look out, like, where do we want to be? What are the things we want to see happen? Where do we think they're going to be? And it doesn't mean you're going to hit it, but you have no goals or targets if you don't have something down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great points, by the way, David. I now know where you get your thinking from. She's definitely influenced you for sure.
I'm trying.
So, what does customer service mean to you guys? Because I just feel like, I tell people all the time, it's the lost art of customer service, right? I know that's something big for you all. Davo's been at the house before, and we've talked about it. I remember one time you had this one review, and you're like so frustrated about it that time, and you wanted to make sure everything was right. And I know that's so important for you, your name and all that. Tell me, like, what does that mean to you guys?
Well, you talk about your name, and I learned early on that you need to guard your reputation with your life. I mean, it's so very important to gain a good reputation for doing good work, and then protect that. And so, with regards to everything that goes into customer service and hospitality, and it's really anticipating your guests' needs and looking at things from their perspective, so that they should not go wanting at any point during their stay. Then when they walk in, that place better be perfect. If it's not perfect, they need to be able to tell that someone damn sure tried.
Right.
And
right.
That's really the effort that we put into it each and every day with Radiant, and how we approach things. We look at everything as a partnership with our homeowners, so we give them the customer service as well that they deserve. I've heard the horror stories.
Well, that's right, because you have to have customer service on the front end and the back end, right?
Twofold.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
For sure.
And so often, I have homeowners that'll call looking to switch to us, and they say they're calling their current management company, and every time they call in, they can't get the same person on the phone or get someone to even answer the phone, which is mind-blowing.
Crazy,
it's
right?
insane to me. You need
That's
to dive
the number one
phone.
thing we used to do in business is answer the phone.
Oh, yeah.
I was tracking if we were missing calls. We were tracking, and we were in customer service in the sanitation industry. So you wouldn't believe people would call for the sanitation, but it rings. The phone rings in that business. And I could tell you crazy stories about that when we had it. But, I mean, every person that was on our customer service team was answering somewhere between 120 to 150 calls a day.
That's fantastic.
Jeez.
And so, but it was so important for us to answer the phones so that people felt like they could, that they had somebody to talk to that could hear whatever, whether it's a new sign up to a complaint to a question about their service.
Sure. Yeah. And those complaints, too, I've, in years past and just through my experience, you can take that guest who's complaining and you can have them walk out the door with a discount and you'll never see him again, or you can turn him into a customer and an advocate for life.
Heck yeah, you
and
can.
When you can do that second move, that's when you're really transcending customer service and you're taking it to the next level.
Well,
That's brilliant. I can't believe Davo just said something that was brilliant. I thought it was all going to be Jill, and then here he goes surprising me.
Well, he gets a lot of customer complaints, so he's gotten very good at dealing with them.
I will say to that, I don't anymore.
Not anymore.
Because
No,
we
it is
started
old job.
Radiant, but
Now, in number 7, my friend Rebecca Balkcom, as she goes through her cancer journey and how she kicked cancer's double hockey sticks. Episode 41 coming at you.
I want to ask you. So, when you were going 2 years into this, you're figuring it out. I mean, you finally, what was the deciding moment that I need to see somebody different than an orthopedic? I need to go into that world.
Sure. I did a book study once a week with a group of women, and we would do a different workbook every year. And we were currently in the middle of this workbook, and we would meet, and we met at this coffee shop, and I couldn't sit the whole time. I would have to stand. And they would watch me, and they were concerned. They knew me really well. They were concerned. And one of the questions was that we were on was, what is your biggest fear? What's something you can't let go of? And I answered very honestly, and I said, I'm really afraid to go to the doctor. And I'm afraid to really go to the doctor. Right. Not just go and, get a prescription for the flu or whatever. Right. And so they said, we're going to call you every 30 minutes, after we leave until you make your doctor's appointment.
So these women,
That's good,
said
friends.
this
And that
is
book
gonna
study.
happen
And that book study.
here in the Emerald Coast.
Here in
this
the Emerald
community.
Coast. And that was the moment that I called my primary, who I hadn't seen in many years, as a, like, let me go have a physical. And he said, well, I actually had a cancellation tomorrow. So, I mean, and you know
Right, I
what the
know, yeah.
situation is like.
Yeah, down
and
here.
so I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I'm
That's
going to
a
go.
God thing right there.
So I went, but I didn't go. I basically just went because I was afraid to go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go because I thought something was horribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I said I have some back pain, but I think it's something between my L4 and my L5.
Like a slip disc.
Yeah, and he said, yeah, whatever you do, don't have surgery. We're going to get you to physical therapy.
Okay.
And I just started the road of doing blood work as a, like, let's just check your body, see what a physical.
Yeah.
And that's what
So the
what
blood
started.
work showed up like a level that was thrown askewed.
The only thing that showed up in the blood work was that I was severely anemic, because the type of cancer I have or had cannot be. It does not show up in blood work.
Really?
It is extremely difficult to
So
diagnose.
how did they get to that diagnosis?
It was a zigzag.
Just a journey of doctors.
It was a
and-
journey of doctors, and you watch and you can see how people get so lost in, let's see if it's this, let's see if it's that. You wait to make an appointment with a gastroenterologist. You wait to get those results back.
But you're
Then
just waiting.
you're waiting and
waiting.
you're having to rule things out before they don't know what they don't know.
Did you have a moment where you're like, well, I did these 3 tests and it wasn't that? Like, just say I'm going to stop, but I mean, your back was killing you. Nothing's getting better.
Well,
It's like-
and so what was interesting, what happened, and it was definitely a God thing,
Yeah.
when I kind of surrendered and said, I'm going to go to the doctor. And I go to the doctor, and I, lost some weight, but I thought it was just because I was, fit and doing cheer, and I had some back pain. Through ruling out different things, everything came crashing. Like, if I had been going like this, I went on a very swift decline
Quick.
with added symptoms
okay.
while I was in that process. So it was like a 3
almost like
month.
the cancer had progressed a little bit.
It
during
progressed.
that time.
It went from growing slowly to I was losing 2 to 3 pounds a day.
Oh my!
Oh wow.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
And they're still doing blood work. They're ruling things out, and then lymph nodes started popping out
Oh wow.
everywhere.
Wow.
And so
So that starts sending you in the right direction. I
you
guess,
start getting
for
in the
that.
right direction. But when I would go
Yeah.
for
Wrong
these,
direction there in the cancer world, but right direction in figuring it
but
out.
when I would go have tests, like I went to have a colonoscopy because they thought maybe I had an internal, like a GI bleed, and that was why I was anemic. I thought I was going to die just from doing the fast.
Wow.
The prep for the
The prep,
colonoscopy.
and I probably
'cause it-
was close to dying
Yeah,
from
'cause-
doing the. I had no.
because it strips you of everything.
That's right.
I just
All
did a
your electrolytes are
colonoscopy
gone.
A couple years ago, I think it was.
That's
strips
right.
Yeah.
And I
It
didn't
does.
know, but
And
I
it's rough
didn't
on your
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was tough. I'm a healthy guy.
No. Yeah.
and I hated it.
No, it's a
You know, I
process.
can't imagine with
The
what you're going
colonoscopy is nothing. It's just
Yeah.
the-
Right.
the
It's not
prep
supposed
of
to
it.
be. So
Yeah.
So, I did wonder, why am I, like, my husband would take me to have blood work, and I would have to sit in the car because I couldn't stand in line to wait for the blood work.
What would you say to somebody that's listening today that's dealing with some pain, has some questions unanswered, is going through, maybe they're in step 1 or 2 of these questions? Like, what do they need to know about that strength to keep searching? And take
Sure.
ownership or something.
I think, a piece of advice that I would give someone that I didn't do because I didn't know to do this is, when you go to see whatever doctor it is, it's a, orthopedic surgeon or your OBGYN, don't discount any symptoms you're having. Like, you're having night sweats, but you know your night sweats have nothing to do with what's going on because it's menopause. You list every single
Everything.
symptom so that even if it is seemingly irrelevant,
That's smart.
maybe insomnia, maybe you've lost a lot of weight, but you've also been working out. You just list all the symptoms. Everything.
Don't excuse anything.
Don't excuse anything. And I think we tend to do that in our minds. We say, oh, well, maybe I'm sure I've lost weight, but it's just because of this.
No, I think you're totally right.
And it would at least give them, whomever you're seeing, a fuller picture so they don't have to, put the puzzle pieces together.
That's really good advice. So you finally get this diagnosis. You like you say, you start kind of tanking. I assume you're at a cancer doctor now, or no?
No, my primary is who finally gave me the diagnosis because he had the lymph nodes biopsied.
Biopsied, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so your primary here calls you up, and tells you.
And his wife is a friend of mine.
Okay, so you now know. What do you do with that information? Like, when it hits you like that, you're kind of, do you feel like you're faced with your mortality? Do you feel like, what are the thoughts racing through your mind?
When he told me, not at that moment. Okay. I think when I am faced with like a really scary situation, I tend to not feel. Mm-hmm. I go into survival mode, I get tough and how am I going to manage this?
Right.
I don't fall apart until later.
I get that.
And
also possibly your female side of things.
It might be. I just sort of took it and thought, okay, well, what's next?
Which, by the way, if the audience is listening there, when I'm pointing out to her female side of things, because there's strength in it that guys
women can handle pain different. They're built to handle pain differently.
But
they really can.
It wasn't a conscious thing. It's just I think you kind of soldier up, I wasn't able to fully realize what I was about to go through, and I think you're given that information. I think God allowed you to have that information in increments because there's no way you could emotionally handle that in like a 5-minute phone call.
And when you were telling your family, you obviously went to tell Murray and then your kids, how does that unfold when you start talking to your family about it?
Well, with my husband, I didn't want him to know immediately.
Okay.
I just wanted to sit with the information for, I think I sat with it overnight.
So you just sat with it, and you needed to process.
I needed to process it. And then with our children, what's interesting about that, we didn't say, hey, your mom has cancer.
How old were they then?
That was 3 years ago. My son would have been 10 and my daughter would have been 9.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 and a half. Is that right? They already knew.
Really?
They already.
Kids, man, it's nuts.
They knew. They were terrified because they were seeing what I couldn't even see myself.
They've been seeing mom standing up. They'd see mom wincing when she sits down.
They were seeing
mom
me.
Winces there, mom, and no other parents are doing this.
That's right. And they're also seeing me go take long naps. And I think they had a sense, I think
kids know so much more than you.
So I think they knew. I think it was. We never said this is cancer to them. We just said, honestly, I don't know what was said. My husband.
He handled
it. He handled it because I was so sick. I couldn't go to them and say, "Hey, I'm going to be okay," because I didn't know if I was going to be okay.
All right, coming in at you, number 6. My friend Jason Shinholster comes on to the studio and talks to us about his $1,000 a day drug habit and how he found hope. So let's check it out. You can find that in episode number 31.
What happened was I started using, and I had gotten an injury because I was racing. I was doing other things.
You were still doing the motorcycle stuff.
I was racing motocross at the time. We had gotten into freestyle motocross. I had a bunch of friends that were traveling and doing all that stuff. And I broke my collarbone. They gave me prescription pills. I got strung out on Oxycontin. Went down that whole road, and that was a hole I had never been in before. Like the cocaine, I could kind of take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But that addiction,
and it's designed to be addictive.
It is. So a couple years, obviously I got out of the game when that whole threat came in, and I thought I'll just lay back a little bit and I'll enter later. Well, I had $1,000 a day drug habit at that point in time.
Wow.
So it didn't take
$1,000 a day?
$1,000 a day.
Wow.
I was doing 10 Oxy 80s.
Well, and then you didn't have the dealing side coming in.
Well, there's no money coming in, so money's just going out.
It is just pouring out to support this habit.
Yeah. So they foreclosed on my house because I wasn't making house payments. Yeah. All those things that I told you I bought, sold all those.
Yeah.
And went through probably, $300,000-$400,000 in cash.
Yeah.
And maxed out all my credit cards. So basically, that's what rock bottom looked like.
That it's just all the pressure coming in,
completely
nowhere to go. Your addiction is upon you. What is it? The saying is like, everywhere I go, therefore I am. There I am.
That's right.
Like that's where you were, right?
Yeah. And I had started smoking it, and just got went down the whole crack road. It was just anything that could get me out of me.
Yeah.
At that time, I was doing. And what happened was I got picked up leaving the hood one night,
right,
scoring some dope.
Right.
And there was a lady actually that worked for the sheriff's department that lived in this like gated community that I lived in.
Okay.
And she's like, I know who you are. I know what you're up to, and I'm going to get you. And I took it super personal. I was like, but listen, today I've looked for her.
And you can't find her.
And I know her name. I know she's around.
Okay.
But my wife's encouraged me. She's like, this lady, she saved my life.
Like a thank you.
She did. She saved my life. She pulled me over every chance she possibly could. I was on house arrest.
Yeah.
She show up.
Yeah.
I violated house arrest. I violated community control. I did all those things.
Right.
Their first offer they gave me was 5 years. And then I sat in the county for a little bit longer. Then they came back with 2 years. Until finally I'd sat in there so long, I said, here's what I'm willing to do. Give me a year.
Yeah.
I'll take a year right now and just let it ride.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, that's enough.
They make the deal. And
because I had spent probably 3 or 4 years incarcerated on and off. Like I said, I've cut out a snippet at a time.
Yeah.
But I was getting arrested on the regular. Yeah.
And
6 months.
It's like
90 days
or whatever.
Yeah. I was catching these but they were violations too.
And every time that happens, it's adding up more and more and more and more.
You're scoring. We run on a point system. Right. So I'm scoring more points every time I mess up.
Not good, by the way, young
Which
kids.
is not good points.
Not the good kind of points.
No, but it happened when it happened, and thank God, and it was such a relief, man. I can remember like it was yesterday, riding in the back of that cop car. Like I knew I was going down, like I was going to be down for a while. And if they would have opened the gate 9 months into that deal and said, "Hey, you're free to go,"
right,
I'd have stayed.
Yeah,
because I was safe and I was getting healthy. Like I was 145 pounds when they arrested me.
Oh man, word, dude.
I looked bad. I can show you. I'll show you a mugshot.
That takes away your appetite, the Oxycontin.
Yeah,
everything.
Hey, if you want, we'll throw it up on the pod. So send it to me. We'll throw it in and place it in. Yeah.
But it was rough, man. And then, so that was rock bottom,
right?
For me, I was done managing my life. I didn't know anything though about recovery.
Right. That was kind of my next step. Like, so from that point to recovery, how do you get there? You've hit rock bottom, but so typically when I've met people in rock bottom or I've heard that rock bottom story, either way, I find that relationships have been severed all around them. So when they've hit it there, they're not entirely, when they finally get there, they're not really entirely sure where to go. And then, what was that like for you when that happened?
So, like most people, you've burnt everything to the ground.
Every bridge is burnt.
As I scanned, I say this a lot, as I scanned the horizon of my life, there was nowhere I could look and go, well, we're doing pretty good over here. Right? It didn't happen.
Right.
But thank God, man. A guy that I grew up with, we went to that private school together.
Nice.
Yep. We played baseball together, but we also used together.
Okay.
He was as bad of a drug addict as I was. Well, he had pulled the parachute 2 years before I got caught.
Wow.
And he was actually coming and witnessing to me, trying to share sobriety and recovery with me. He would show up, like at the end of it, I was back at my mom's house, and he showed up one day. I was still in the bed from like a 4-day, I had been up for a week.
Yeah.
And I remember waking up, and he had a Alcoholics Anonymous big book. And like some speaker CDs. And he gave them to my mom and said, have him listen to these.
Okay.
And I was like, whatever, man. Like, you think you're better than me? That type of approach.
Yeah.
I'm like, you were just as bad as I was.
The humility game is not strong in the drug world.
No, it's not. But the thing is I never got to put eyes on him.
Right.
In that time period.
Yeah.
Well, when I was incarcerated, it was Thanksgiving, and he had came to see me.
Dude, so strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't realize that. And I kind of want to take a moment just to point out to the audience that as a person and a believer, when you are doing something to step out in faith, to talk to somebody, or and we say witness, you can do the traction and all that, or you just sit with somebody and have a meal or lunch. You don't realize how that comes back and hits that person. Like, you can think that it is a waste of time. I can't tell you how many times I've done things and go, this is a waste of time. And then years later, you hear like, thank you so much for that, whatever. And so that's so important that this guy still was like, you weren't a waste of time.
No, he would put money on his phone so I could call him. I had a routine. Like, I would call him every Sunday night. He put money on his phone so I could call him.
That's amazing.
And then Thanksgiving, he came and saw me. So like visitation at this facility, you look at each other through a TV monitor.
Oh, wow. So you're not glass. You're not at a table. So you're in a TV monitor, phone in hand sort of thing. Yeah.
Phone, TV monitor. And when the monitor came on, it resembled him.
Yeah.
But I had never seen that guy
grainy
before.
Sort of deal, too. It's usually not like, it's not 4K.
No, it's definitely not 4K.
Yeah.
But the guy that was sitting on the other side of there wasn't the guy that I remembered the last time we were together.
Okay.
Like
he just looked
Well, he
healthy.
was sober. He was clean.
Sober,
he was healthy. He looked great. The things that were coming out of his mouth.
Tone.
Oh, he was jacked.
Right.
But the things that were coming out of his mouth sounded
different.
Yeah.
Hopeful.
Hope is what I was looking at hope. Right.
Yeah.
And he lived here in Santa Rosa Beach. So his aunt.
Oh, that's nice. Here, huh? Nice.
Yeah. So that's how the story goes. His aunt had a hair salon out in Seagrove. And when he tried to get clean, that was their only family they had out of town.
So he was driving from Santa Rosa Beach here to Titusville, which I'm assuming is 8-ish hours.
8, yeah.
8 hours.
7 and some change. It's 8 if you stop at Buc-ee's.
What a testimony from him.
100%. And I'll mention this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's just what it took. He's very modest and humble in the whole thing of just like, I was just doing what I was called to do.
Baby. Heck yeah, baby.
But I always try to encourage him. And when I speak about obedience, he felt led to come. Right. And you never know whose life, because he sees how many lives I've changed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. It continues to create ripples there.
And that doesn't happen.
And your platform is certainly, in my opinion, larger than maybe where his platform was given.
Correct.
But where you are and how Jesus uses you does not require, like, you don't have to be on the world's largest stage.
Not
right?
at all.
Listen up, kids. I hope you've enjoyed this top 10 most poignant episodes so far. Again, no particular order, but that's 10 through 6. Come back next week for episodes 5 through 1, and hopefully you're learning something from this. I mean, or not. What the hell do I know?
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.